Let's talk about betrayal trauma and why it's really important to understand this, because men will center their shame when they betray us, and in doing so, they prevent us from healing. They also destroy their own relationships by doing that. But anyway, let's go. Not just men, obviously. Okay, just look at this shirt that I'm wearing first. Look at this. The Titanic thing with cats. I love this shirt. I'm actually a dog person, but I love this hat and this shirt. And I like cats. I also just want to say that obviously it's not just men that do this. All humans do this, or can do this. The reason why I say men is that men have a problem because of patriarchy and the entitlement and selfishness that comes with that indoctrination. They have a problem being empathetic and not centering themselves. The same kind of thing with whiteness, right? And so if they refuse to do that work on themselves to really understand how their entitlement means that everything is catered to them, and they're going to ruin their relationships and them so that they're beyond repair. I hope that, honestly, I think women should usually just leave men as soon as they do anything like this. But I also know that this is complicated. Some women can't leave men. Some women have, actually one of my mutuals calls it, coined the term stay shaming. Sometimes women have stayed with men who betrayed them. And in the end, it actually made sense that they stayed. And they actually did a ton of work, and they are thriving now. So it is sometimes possible to recover from a major betrayal. Unfortunately, what a lot of men refuse to do is actually work on themselves, even wonder why all of a sudden they're attracted to this woman at the office while their wife is pregnant. You could argue that they never actually liked her and married her for all the wrong reasons, because that's usually what the case is. But sometimes these men who will not deal with these things inside, right, end up making a big mistake they can't take back and ruin their lives. I want to talk about this example, but I also want, and I'll talk about this a little bit after I get through with this, that betrayal trauma is not, especially within couples, one of the biggest forms of that is absolutely infidelity and cheating. Also, this could look like you are with an addict and they relapsed and they're not telling you. You don't find out until all the money's gone and they're in jail. Now you have to pick up all the pieces because they were too ashamed to admit that they had relapsed. Maybe you never even knew they were an addict. Now your whole life is not ruined, but maybe beyond repair in a lot of ways because of the way this person was lying. Through omission, usually, but lying to your face. Like I've said before, I have plenty of empathy for addicts. That is a sickness. Do not hook up with an addict and attach your finances and parenthood to an addict who is not really solid in recovery, because one relapse could ruin your life. Ruin it. All the other things. But this is not about addiction. But I'm just saying a lot of things fall under this. This could be them, like that thing I read the other day. Not the guy who's going to a hotel 2 days after every work trip and just lying about it because he needs some time to himself, as if his wife doesn't. Just is lying about it. He's afraid his wife's going to think that he's cheating when he's supposedly just in these hotel rooms just so he can sleep. That to me is a betrayal. It is a big betrayal. If I caught my husband lying about something that big, I wouldn't trust him again. Making sure that if you're going to date or marry a man, that he is someone who's actively working on himself, so that if something is going off, rather than him just being reckless and selfish and just doing this thing that will make him feel better instead of addressing the hard thing, right? If a man is not working on himself, then they're going to go that easy fix, gambling, drinking, affairs, whatever it is, because escapism is oftentimes the heart of so many men's problems. They really just don't want to deal. That's hard. It takes courage. They want to be a tough, strong man who's actually a coward. It's really important to understand where a guy is at or a man is at when you're dating. Really, get to know his inner world and how in touch he is with that inner world and his vices, all those things. Because betrayal trauma, only one form of that is an affair. And honestly, I would leave if I found this out. Absolutely. I would never be able to trust my husband again if something like this happened. Never. Not happened. He did it. Look at me talking in passive voice as if an affair just happened to him. Oh, God, I catch myself in real time minimizing men's harm all the time. I'm learning here too. So this is from the New York Times. It's Modern Love, which is one of their longest, it's a column that's one of their longest ones. It's one of the most popular. This is ones that when these essays are usually so well written, beautiful and touching, a lot of times they get turned into book deals and stuff. Maybe not so much anymore because the industry is and chaos. So this one, after the affair, the reckoning. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to kind of skip around. This is such a heartbreaking story, and yet this is so common. These men cheating on their pregnant wife. So this happened one day before our 7th wedding anniversary, and 6 weeks after our first child was born, my husband told me he was having an affair. The tense matters. Having, not had. I mean, even that the tense does matter. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this thing rather than I did this thing. Just framing in that way is like, sorry, I'm not done. Imagine having a 6-week-old. And he comes to you like this. It gets worse, y'all. As his confession reverberated in my ears, I rocked our daughter to sleep after her 10th or 11th nursing session of the day. God, I don't even want to ever know, obviously, I'm child-free, what it's like to be a woman breastfeeding, dealing with all this. Imagine him being like, hey, by the way, I got another woman. My nipples ached, my body trembled, my heart shattered. Tears landed on my H&M onesie, the first one I purchased after I found out I was pregnant after our first embryo transfer. See, now this is where it gets crazy. So many people have IVF and spend tens of thousands of dollars trying to have a baby. There's so much to have a baby, only to have a man come in and this story makes me so angry. It makes me so angry. And I have never even been in this position. This happens a lot. So many affairs and domestic violence, by the way, happen when she's pregnant. These men just can't handle not being the most important thing ever. God, I feel neglected. These men are so jealous of their kids. I've done literally a story where a man was like, I am jealous of my kid. They admit it all the time. Insecure men who do not understand and don't care to unpack their entitlements. They're gonna ruin your life. Anyway, I held her steady despite my pain, shifting into the instinctual protective mode of a mother. She cannot know I'm crying, I thought as I stared at my husband in shock. My cheeks were wet, but no sound escaped my lips. There wasn't anger, not yet. Questions, with whom, when, how many times? In several ways, my story is nothing new. My husband, a J. Crew wearing, annoyingly nice school administrator. Here we go right here. Nice guy. These nice guys are not nice. They are worse than frat boys a lot of the time. Because this is what happens. You're like, oh, they're such a good man. They're so good. No, I have known so many men like this. It makes me sick because I could see so many men doing this. I worked with mostly men. Oh, I know a lot of men. And when you find out that they cheated and stuff, you're like, God, you really think you're just a little hero, amazing, nice guy, helpful. And then the people closest to you who rely on you, like your baby daughter and your wife, this is what you do? Cool. A lot of men love being like the pillars of their community. They'll volunteer for search and rescue. They're just the guy who's so helpful, who will fix anything with the neighbors and then do this to the very woman who gives him everything. Best case scenario, some of these men who are like that, that everyone's like, God, what an upstanding member of the community. They're beating their kids, beating their wife. Oh, he had an affair with a colleague. Great. I was pregnant, tired, and focused on preparing for our baby. She was focused on him. I'm not saying that this woman is innocent at all. We've all known women who literally go after men who are taken. That is almost always because of their own unresolved trauma that they won't look at. And also their patriarchal indoctrination of, I won, I got picked. So women who won't look at this stuff end up being, malicious and dangerous and harming a lot of people too. We usually don't just go, a little different, the violence, but it's still violent. She was focused on him, flirting on Slack, in his office, and during lunch breaks. I mean, this is what he's telling you though, huh? Really believe this dude? Oh, she was flirting, Don't pin this on her. She may have had some part in this, obviously, especially if she knew that he was married and had a pregnant wife. I'm not saying that she's not accountable, but women really need to be putting all that anger at that woman to their husband who did it. All of it. All of it. So you literally talk to that woman, don't ever trust what he's saying. Later discovered that other colleagues were suspicious of the affair. When I met her, I had a bad feeling too. Even our marriage counselor, whom we started seeing after his confession, thought it was odd that the other woman had invited my husband to her house to fix her kitchen cabinets soon after being hired. Now, that is weird and inappropriate. Why did he go? Why did he go? Why did you go? See, this is these like helpful pillars of the community. No boundaries. This is what you end up with. Comment for part 2. Oh my God, look how he's asleep. You know I'm talking about you. Is he out? He always knows. He always knows. When I stop talking, he's like, it's like me like being like, blah, 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 makes him calm. And then me like, when I shut up, he's like, okay, sorry. Anyway, not your typical office favor, but it was her first move in a series of intimacy building actions that created the opportunity for infidelity. Okay, stop right there. I'm going to stop you right there. Her first move in a series of intimacy building actions. I am not saying that women don't do this, but God, we need to stop thinking men are dumb. He is an active participant in these intimacy building actions. All he had to say is, sorry, I'm not free. Sorry, I have a pregnant wife at home I need to get home to instead of come fixing your cabinets. Sorry, fill in the blank. See, like this I believe is how she is able to justify it and get over it, is because of this framing right here. Yes, the other woman is also guilty, but I don't care what that woman did, unless your husband, unless he's just literally like, come on. I don't even need to explain this, right? You'll get what I'm saying, right? Hold these men accountable. They are not stupid. They're selfish. We're not crazy. We're codependent. On a spectrum. At the time, I thought her request was bizarre, but my husband was always going out of his way to help others. What'd I tell y'all? You know, we oftentimes think of insecure men as the ones who are like overcompensating, like, whoa, I got my big old truck and my big old tires, a monster truck, got my big old muscles, and they're overcompensating. Nice guys overcompensate with this. They help everyone in the community. See, I'm a good guy. Hi, validate me. It's all the same thing. It just looks different. It's all the same thing. He's helping everybody. If he's not helping her the most, not even help, an active participant the most and doing the most for her, like, fork your helping, bro. He would lift heavy pieces of furniture for neighbors or pack U-Hauls for friends. I'm always going to ask, are these male or female friends and neighbors? Something important to pay attention to. Because a lot of men will like make you think that they're actually a really great man and they're like so supportive to all your female friends, and then they'll cheat on you with that one. Cecilia Regina has talked about this. I've talked about this. I'm sure all my mutuals have talked about this at some point. Don't think he's a good guy just because he's helping all your girlfriends. Because when he dumps you, he's going to take one of them or all of them. Sometimes. I'm not saying always, but also he should also be helping your friends out. But if it's only your girl, like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I can make a video if you want that. Okay, focus, Melanie. He likes working with his hands, my favorite part of him. What's he doing with those hands? They look so big when they held our daughter, his fingers wrapping around her tiny legs as he cradled her like a football. Like many women, I battled insomnia during my pregnancy. My nightly ritual became Unisom tablets and Emily Oster books. I don't know that reference. I'm sure y'all probably do, maybe. From genetic testing to sleep training, I wanted to be prepared for all of parenting. I was always prepared for everything until now. That makes me wonder how much you were doing and he wasn't doing. Are you already a married single mom? Because it kind of sounds like it may be. He's so busy helping everyone else, which is all about his ego and image management, while you're doing all this. Maybe that's not the case, but I wouldn't be surprised. In addition to the Unisom, I tried to get into bed early because I know my body needed rest. My pregnancy was high risk for multiple reasons. I was nearing 40 with type 1 diabetes and had undergone IVF. Okay, it's going to get weirder, I remember. My husband, on the other hand, is a night owl. He can change that. I swear to God, I'm a night owl. Guess what? When women get pregnant or have some major change in their life, they know that their life is going to change. This man, unless he literally has a sleep disorder, so many men are night owls. Like stay up all night and fall asleep on the couch. You think that just is their personality? No, they can change if they want to, if they have to. So the fact that he didn't even try to change his sleep pattern unless he has a really good reason for being a night owl, what's he doing at night? He's watching corn, texting on his Tinder he's probably on a Tinder profile. He's probably swiping. I'm telling you, most of these men that I met on the app started to realize that they're probably sitting next to their wife. And that's why I stopped trusting any of them, especially the ones who never wanted to meet up, but always wanted to talk. Those men are married, just so you know. Oh, I'm so mad at her husband right now. He's a night owl, so he slipped under the covers at 2 a.m. after being with her. See, my dad, I've talked about my dad. Not a great father, but he always had some one-liners that I was like, that's pretty sound advice. He said nobody, and by nobody he usually means men. No one is up to any good between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Seriously, most women, if their husband is up like till all night, just assume he's watching porn. Unless you literally have anything other to prove that, I'm telling you, that's what they're doing. Or they're texting women on Tinder. Unless they are like an artist or have something and they literally but even still, if you have a baby coming, change your sleep habits. God! See, the entitlement is entitling here. God! And even if I'd woken up, it wouldn't have mattered. I never imagined my caring and dedicated husband would do this. Yeah, no women do. That's the thing. No women ever think that their man would do this. This is why they're, are afraid of prenups and afraid of having their own money. All the things that protect them in case he does this. No woman is like, yeah, he'll probably cheat on me, but let's get married anyway. I mean, some women might be like that. All women think he would never do this. And then they discover who he really is because he won't figure out who he is. He won't do that hard work of really understanding himself and working on himself. So what happens? She has to figure it out. She has to learn how many problems he has because he won't. And she suffers the most consequences. That's patriarchy right there. And who will not work on themselves, a woman will suffer from his refusal to go to therapy. I mean, not even therapy, because we know men just use that a lot of times to manipulate us. Men who won't do the work will find a woman who will either do that work for him somehow, which it's not even right. It doesn't work that way. But a woman will always suffer when a man will not look at himself. So busy helping everybody else. Did you ever read a book about, codependency or whatever this is about? Pleasing mommy or daddy or whatever this is, hating yourself? I don't know. But stop helping the neighbor and work on yourself or help your wife. But they won't do it, so he has an affair. And now she can never sleep well. This is why I don't know if she can leave him, but she will never have a good night's sleep ever again. This is betrayal trauma. Even if it's done and he never does it again, she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. Now she's going to be on edge with that thought in the back of her head. Maybe he's out with a woman. She's got to play a little Nancy Drew, making sure he's not. This is why when men lie to their wives, you are fucking your relationship, because then she won't know what's true and what's not. I still don't believe it. I'm not sure he does either. Oh, yeah. Oh. That's one of the many things he's been avoiding. He told me he felt like a stranger to himself during that time. Cool. Your wife probably felt like a stranger. She's got an alien in her body. He's becoming a whole new person. He's literally baby's literally sucking the life force out of her. She's losing hair. This baby is literally when I saw what happens to women's bodies when they're making a baby or whatever. What happens in that uterus is insane to me. They're little vampires, and they're like, a woman's body never fully recovers from that. He's like, but I didn't know myself. I just didn't know who I was. So I cheated. Ha, get over it. He's the kind of partner who sits with me on the couch and lets me show him my Pinterest boards. Wow, what a great guy. As opposed to what? A guy who's like, you stupid hobbies, I don't care. This is not, I get it, but this is not really bragging rights kind of thing. Before the baby, we watched Jeopardy every night while eating dinner, and we had cooked together from our latest farmer's market. Does he ever cook for you? Just wondering. He drove me to my OB appointments and gave me almost every, of course! This is not bragging. This is why, okay. This man thinks that he's a good dad because he drove his wife to appointments for his baby. Because he gave shots to make his baby. This is not, tell me something that's bragging, because this is lowest, bar is in hell kind of detail. Only missing a few injections when he traveled for work, and even then he arranged for a nurse friend to administer them. Still not impressed. I'm still not impressed. But I'm impressed by all the stuff he does for everyone but you. Neighbors, your friends. What does he do for you? I have heard nothing about that. He lets you show him your Pinterest boards and doesn't make fun of you while doing that. That's it. That's it. After 3 years of just be patient because it will happen when it's supposed to happen, we became pregnant naturally in January 2021. However, we lost that. Oh, gosh, I forgot. She's lost Lost one. All this IVF. This woman has been through so much just to have a child. And he thought having an affair was a great idea. You know, in case I forget to say it later, do not ever let men convince you that an affair just happened. It's an active choice. And I think she thinks that this just happened. Like the more, okay, sorry, okay. Okay, after losing this baby, however, we lost that pregnancy. At the first ultrasound, there was no heartbeat. My husband had to wait in the car because of, God, you did this during COVID? Not that COVID's over. But like when the hospitals wouldn't even let him in there with you. So I found myself alone with lukewarm jelly smothered on my bloated stomach as the nurse apologized for the loss. She had to hear this news all by herself. Just reminds me of so much stuff people had to handle alone. Believing we could become pregnant on our own, we tried again and again. Next became a chore, one we failed at. Ovulation sticks, timed intercourse. Now, I can't imagine. I know so many people deal with this. I can't imagine doing all this. I know people who have, and I hear them like, wow. Negative pregnancy test, a cycle that forced togetherness while simultaneously driving us apart. See, y'all should have been talking about this. Were you in couples counseling? Or were you just too focused on this? Still, he's dead. A cycle that made my husband feel inadequate. Oh, here we go. This is what it's all about. I've got another story for y'all I want to read. These men need to get over their little, problems with the pee-pee, the baby gravy. This is what it's about. This is what it's all about. I feel inadequate because I can't. My baby gravy's not working. The only thing that'll make me feel good about myself is a woman at work. I'm guessing she's younger. How much you want to bet? So I will destroy my marriage and all this and make the workplace uncomfortable for everyone because all the colleagues were like, ugh. Do you know how frustrating it is for everyone when there's an affair happening at work? It causes so much stress and drama. Now everyone has to deal with these two people's bad decision. His little swimmers couldn't swim. It just happened to him. I'm telling you, insecure men make terrible partners. Because one little thing and they're like, I gotta go cheat to feel better. It made him feel inadequate, but he never admitted that until we were in couples counseling after the affair. That right there. That's why I'm saying men who are not working on themselves and throw themselves into literally anything to avoid themselves, any people, right? This is for everyone. But when men are reckless, women pay the price. Always. More so. Because their decision and because of patriarchy and all that stuff, it's like, I'm so mad at this man. Okay, I need to calm down. I wish he had told me. Yeah, we all do. Maybe things would have been different if he had, or if I had asked. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have noticed this and talked about it. Maybe you were so hyper-focused on this baby. Maybe the baby was a good distraction from how you were already maybe not feeling all that important or fulfilled in your marriage and you're bored. You just watch Jeopardy? Is that all you do? Literally, you haven't given me a case for why this man's like a great partner. Doesn't cook for you. Like helps everyone but you. Do anything, will move mountains for anyone but you. And probably your daughter. IVS is your best bet, the doctor said over Zoom after the analysis indicated a low sperm count. They had to do all this because of his low sperm. Now it all makes sense. Again, insecure men will ruin your life. When we failed to become pregnant again, we turned to a fertility clinic for help. In the end, it would take us 5 years to have a baby and over $40,000 in out-of-pocket, right? Not insurance cost. But after the shots, the retrieval, the testing, and the waiting, I was pregnant again. We were thrilled and terrified. During each ultrasound, we held our breath until we heard a heartbeat. Then we would let out a sigh, but only a partial one. We couldn't allow ourselves to be too happy. For 9 months, I did everything I could to take care of the life inside of me. I knew our baby was a girl, and I talked to her more than anyone else. I would tell her all about things we were going to do together. I hoped she loved dogs and me, and I know, or the wait. When my husband finally told me the whole truth about the affair, several weeks after his initial incomplete, here we go, even lied about the affair. Classic. God, that's like a double whammy. Here's this huge thing I've been doing. And then later, well, actually, it's so much worse. He explained that he first slept with her 9 days before our daughter was born. I'm telling you, When women are pregnant, this is when the men do the worst stuff to them. After 5 years of hoping and trying and wishing, 9 days. We were so close to having it all. I feel like she needs to work on herself some too. Because whatever delulu world she was living in, even though this is mostly on him, but I think maybe she missed some red flags. The first night home from the hospital, I didn't sleep. Our daughter refused to stay on her back. Therefore, my anxiety refused to let me rest. I learned it's called, it turned out my fear of losing her didn't end, and it was when she was born. Exhausted and desperate, I rented a modern bassinet with electronic monitoring and built-in swaddle to secure babies on their back. Oh, I could finally close my eyes, and my husband could use the associated app to know when I was awake. Oh, how convenient for him. From the living room couch, his temporary bed since the baby was born, so he could go to work without being a zombie. Wow, how thoughtful. How thoughtful. Must be nice to be able to sleep in another room so you're not woken up by the baby so that you can actually sneak out and go cheat. The manufacturer didn't list infidelity mode as a feature in his product description. Burn! Yet the Bassinet's mobile app allowed my husband to sneak out, be with another woman, and return home before I knew it. All thanks to the real-time report, which revealed when the baby was up or down, making it known when I was too. That is some audacity. Oh my God, like, this just takes it to a whole new level. Like, if this man was like having an affair at work, you know, like sneaking in the bathroom and doing or going to her place or renting a hotel during workout, I don't even know. But this to me is just insane. Watching a monitor to see when your baby is sleeping. So you can tiptoe out, maybe in a ski mask, you know, and then go have an affair and sneak back in. And then check on your wife and your baby just to see if you'll get caught, instead of looking out for them. I really can't stand this man. She may forgive him, but I won't. I don't know. I could never unsee this level of deception. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not just betrayal trauma. This is like betrayal trauma, like extreme. But not that extreme, because men will have whole families that are secret. Not like, I'm just saying, this is different than hooking up with something after work or at work or whatever. Literally sleeping, sneaking out, tiptoeing from your house. Like, so how much energy do you think this man had to give his family? I mean, do you think this man was taking care of his wife, right? You know that he, you know, like they just watched Jeopardy and they cooked together. Did you ever cook her a meal? You're probably too tired from sneaking out and forking some coworker. You should have been sleeping. So this woman is literally having her body being depleted of all of the things it needs to make this baby and all the things it does to her body. Seriously, I mean, like, even the pee thing. Pregnant women, they can't go more than like a half hour, it seems, without peeing because the baby's just pushing so hard on their little bladder. And this man, this is what he's spending his spare time doing. I just don't see how she thinks this man is a helpful person. And the only two people he's supposed to be helping in this very, very fragile moment of both of their lives, either of them could die. Like that. I'm sorry. Am I too mad? Are you as mad as I'm so mad at him? Especially the more I understand how dangerous pregnancy is, and we know it's even more dangerous if you're Black, Indigenous, or another woman of color, but especially Black women in the United States. Is it like 4 times more likely to die during pregnancy? But pregnancy in general, 2 of my friends within a month of each other had to be helicoptered to the hospital to not die during labor. Life flighted to save their lives. If you've never had that happen to anyone in your life, much less 2 within like a very short period of time, you will understand how dangerous pregnancy. And this man's just like tiptoe, 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 tiptoe. Sorry, I'm sleepy. Can't help you. Won't even make you any food, but I'll watch your stupid Pinterest boards and not mock you for that. I'm a good, helpful man. Fuck you. Okay, Melanie, calm down. My own mother came to stay with me during aftermath of the event, as we started calling it, which ended with this confession. Though some correspondence followed. Cool. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this man told her he was having, present tense, an affair so he didn't have to help with his own newborn. Classic. So the mom did all this. The mom was, I wonder how long this went on. Seriously, again, I would not be so mad if they had not spent $40,000 and already lost one pregnancy, and she's doing the shots, she's doing all this, and then he's like, oh, I had an affair. And then he just, what is he doing while your mom's helping? Present tense forking his coworker? Because according to you, it's not over. Saying affair was too painful and still is. I'm under the impression that she's still with this man. If you can't even say the word affair, maybe, just maybe, you have so much betrayal trauma that this is not going to work out. Like, you need to say the word. The event is minimizing this man being unbelievably selfish, deceptive, and trash. My mother cared for me so I could care for my baby. She was the only person I trusted. Well, yeah. When my daughter napped, we talked about the event. Oh, stop calling it that. The affair. She was angry when I was angry, sad when I was sad. She had the worst thoughts at night when she tried to sleep, just like me. Oh, great. So now there are 3, a baby girl and 2 women that are impacted by this man's selfishness. I'm sorry, 4 women, because the woman he's cheating on with, again, maybe she went after him. But my guess is that her being involved with this man probably didn't end well for her either. Compromised all her relationships at work. Again, not saying that she is not responsible for those choices. But anytime there's an affair, and the man is married, I am going to hold him way more accountable. He was married. She was not, but he was married. And so many times, not always, these men literally start flirting with women while they're married. And then the women are blamed for being the vixen, going after them. But he was flirting. I think he was totally innocent, just being like, don't talk to me. He's fixing her kitchen or whatever. The vixen. My mother understood what I was thinking before I would say the words. She felt what I felt, shocked, confused, heartbroken, and yet still wanting to keep my little family. Oh no. That's why. You're staying with this man because your mom? I'm guessing, maybe not. I swear to God, if you do not have women in your corner who are not pick-me's, or we're all pick-me's on some level, on the spectrum, right? But if the woman that you trust the most and take counsel from the most is codependent / pick-me-ish, she's gonna convince you to put up with so much crap from the men in your life. Especially, and moms have a huge impact. But you don't want to break up the family. You don't want to be a single mom, do you? I was raised by a single mom. If I would literally have never chosen any other way. Other than maybe like an amazing dad. But an amazing dad or single mom, I don't want anything in between that. Nothing. That's how decentering men was so much easier for me than a lot of women who grew up with dads like this. And here we go. Ultimately, I chose to stay with him because of your mom. I bet it's because of her mom, y'all. I'm telling you, I would put money on it. But we changed our entire lives. We left our jobs, took pay cuts. What? Well, yeah, he had to leave his job. I really think he can go back to work? Everybody knows he's a little cheater. He's got to face this lady. Yeah, so this is why they uprooted their life. It was because he can't show his face at work anymore. But he probably convinced her, I know, let's start all over. It'll be okay. We get new jobs that pay less. Move to a new state where you don't have any community, including your mom, the only person you trust. Let's leave her. Get new jobs. That's going to go well for a woman raising a baby. We already know though when moms get so screwed at work, and he's like, start over, a new job. And move to a new state. Friends question my decisions. You should have listened to your friends more than your mom. Although maybe mom wasn't okay with the moving part. But relationships are never black and white. Here we go. Now we're going to read all her delusion. Relationships are never black and white. And there's no single script for how to handle them. I was ready to fight for the life I always... Do not ever fight for a relationship. I swear to God. These men will have us convinced that, marriage is hard. Life is hard. We go through hard moments together, but marriage is not supposed to be this hard. Fighting for marriage? Who do you think you guys doing all that fighting? It's not men. Men will literally be like, women will be like, I need you to do this and this and this and this and this and this because I'm literally going to divorce you. And they'll say it every year for years. And the men will do nothing. And then they'll be like, I'm not excited. Why don't you fight for the marriage? I swear to God, men almost never fight for their marriage. But women are like, I fight for my marriage. He expressed so much shame and regret. How much you want to bet he centered his shame? That's also not okay. Men who are more concerned about their shame and their regret than the impact they had on you, they're not sorry. And he wanted to fight for us too. He even supported me writing this. Yeah, but you know what? I couldn't find this lady. I was like, oh my God, I got to look this lady up. Because she's a great writer. I was dying to read some of her other stuff. And little curious and little journalist in me was curious, like, what? You know, I want to see her husband. But I'm pretty sure she wrote this under either a false name or she's got her stuff private. Because I could not find, and I didn't dig that deep because I didn't want to even show y'all even what I found. But I was just curious. Yeah, he supported you writing this. But either this is like a fake name or, you know, they're not on social media very much. And it doesn't matter anyway. They moved to a new state, new jobs, new friends, new everything. Literally, that is the worst thing he could have asked her to do. Hey, I know I messed up really big. Let me yank you away from all your community. I tell y'all all the time, don't move for a man. Don't move for a man when he's being good to you, and definitely don't move for a man who feels bad about him cheating while you're pregnant and thinks the solution to that is yanking you away from your everything you need as a new mother who needs support from your friends. Who need one of the worst things you can do is go have a baby in a place where you don't know anybody and you don't have any friends. You know how long it takes people that have to create friendship so that village will show up for them? This is another reason why I say do not move overseas or anywhere for a man and get pregnant, especially until you have a solid community. I mean, don't do it in general, but sometimes it works out. Because one of my friends is pregnant right now and she's going it alone on purpose. Doesn't want a man raising it with her. She was tired of waiting for one. And she has a whole community and she has that village built. But she's lived here her whole life. This woman is screwed. And now she's going to be more financially dependent on this man because at work, again, she's going to be less pay and she's got a baby. And he clearly sucks as a dad. I'm worried about this woman. Some days, 9 months later, so it's been 9 months. I still feel a pain so deep it suffocates me. It starts in my throat, travels through my chest, and sits heavily in my stomach. I try to swallow, but my throat feels tighter than normal, as if the heartache and oxygen can't share the same space. Honey, you're not okay. When I cry during our daughter's naps, I splash cold water on my face to disguise my tears before fetching her from her crib. God, it's getting worse. Forcing a smile, I pause at the nursery door and take a deep breath as I enter. Although I tried to shield her from this, is it possible she already knows? Maybe. Regardless, is she helping me heal? Definitely. As my own mother showed me, there is an indescribable connection between mothers and their children. They feel what we feel, and motherhood never ends. I can't protect my daughter forever, but she will. What are you talking about now? What are we even talking about? What's happening? But when she does experience heartbreak at 4 or 40, I will be there to feel it with her, just as my mom has done for me. The end? That's the end. That is the most depressing ending of a story I have ever read in modern love. Yeah, the reason why I read that story is it's supposed to be this it's supposed to just be this beautiful story. This is a horror film. This is not a beautiful story. This is a terrifying story. I do not believe that man's not going to cheat again. I can't stand that man. She's even more screwed than ever because she's cut off from her community and now making less money. And she has major betrayal trauma. Now let's talk about betrayal trauma. Why betrayal can cause trauma and how to start healing. A bunch of articles about betrayal trauma, and I'm not going to go into all of that. This is already long enough. But here's some of the effects of betrayal trauma. You might also find yourself accepting the possibility of future betrayals, which begin to degrade your self-esteem, emotional well-being, and the ability to form attachment. Oh, cool. She's in a new state with no friends and no community, cut off from everyone. And now she's probably going to feel bad about herself and have a hard time forming attachment. This woman's in danger, ask me. And if he never lays a hand on her, he's not trustworthy. So just what is betrayal trauma? The concept first introduced in 1991 by Jennifer Freyd describes it as a specific trauma that happens in key social relationships where the betrayed person needs to maintain a relationship with the betrayer for support and protection. So this can happen within families. It's definitely between kids and parents. But this is why please do not have babies with these men. Please do not get pregnant from these men. Even after you're married, wait sometime if you can. Because these men, if you don't know them very well, and of course at any point they could do the switch up, and they're most likely to do a switch up when you're pregnant. But now, no matter what, unless you have like a literal restraining order, you have to maintain a relationship with the betrayer forever. As a child of divorce, let me tell you, that's not fun. As a kid, knowing this person who I depend on and I love hates this person that I love. But why do they, triangulation is so hard to not happen when one person was so betrayed. And then there's someone in the middle, like this new baby girl. Betrayal trauma theory suggests harm within attachment relationships, like the relationship between parents and child, between romantic partners, can cause lasting trauma. So we're not talking about PTSD, we're talking about CPTSD, complex. Pay attention to this. The fear of the consequences of acknowledging the betrayal might prompt the betrayed person to bury the trauma. That's what's happening in this story I just read. As a result, they may not fully process the betrayal or remember it correctly, especially if it happened in childhood. This woman can't even say the word affair. She's not really processing it, it seems. She made huge major life decisions to try to fix it rather than sit with Did you hear me? I almost did it. I almost did the passive, what just happened to her. This didn't happen to her. A man did this to her, right? This is how we always talk about anytime we're talking about women. We're talking about when the cops, what they do to the Black community. Oh, this is passive, but this thing just happened. This just happened. A woman just happened to get unalived. No active subject of these. So I just did it. See how deep this stuff runs? Betrayal blindness can also happen in the context of romantic relationships. Maybe you don't exactly need your partner to survive, but you might still feel unable to leave for any number of reasons. Children, lack of options, no income of your own, especially if you move to a new state, possibly mother pressuring you to stay with him. Relationships also fulfill important belonging and social connection needs, and a betrayal can leave you wondering how to get those needs met in the future. Instead of staying alert to signs of cheating, you might choose, often unconsciously, to ignore or overlook clues to safeguard your relationship and protect your mental health. This is what we see happen all the time. I think people who grew up with abusive dads end up marrying someone just like him. Haven't processed this betrayal. Hello, I'm an example of this with my ex. I was like, God, this seems oddly familiar. Oh, it was just like my dad, but more violent and, a sociopath, not just a narcissist. Anyway, this is what can cause betrayal trauma: physical, emotional, verbal, or emotional abuse, neglect. We don't talk about that one enough. Manipulation, infidelity, dishonesty, such as about financial problems, debts, or other secretive behavior. And the reason why I want to talk about this is that men do this with finances all the time. You know how many women I know who found out about man's insanely high debt to the IRS, credit card, all kinds of things, or that they had just taken all this money out of their joint account to go buy a boat or some crap. This happens all the time. This is a betrayal trauma too. Huge, because your finances are part of your security. And betrayal trauma can also cause symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Another example is a man sneaking out to go do something else, not cheat. Like when men are sneaking around and doing a bunch of stuff and any kind of like game playing, not wanting to get it, that it starts small and it gets big, right? And this is why I said before, this is why when you marry a man with an addiction, watch out. You will find out one day that everything you thought was true is not, and you're in the upside down world. But then you've been through so much together, and how can you leave a man who's trying to get better, who had to hit a bottom? I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but a lot of times you shouldn't. Unless these men are really, truly, but I don't believe this man actually cares about her, because no man, no person would move a new mother after all the IVF, after all of that she went through to get pregnant and now has a newborn, and he did that to her, would move her away from her only support. I hate this man. Like, a lot of times I just kind of like glimpse over things and I'm like, this sounds good. But I did not catch a lot of that. I did not catch that part. You will not convince me this woman should not have left this man. Never. Especially because he sounds like one of these covert narcissists or whatever. These helpers. Firemen. These men who just love to be the heroes in the community. That's what that man is. Even best case scenario, he needs to work on himself and get some help. But at this point, he has put her through so much, and that was such a big betrayal. She can never rest easily, because after infidelity, let's look at some stuff. Also, I just want to mention this. Heterosexual men experience more stress and anxiety about physical betrayals from their wives, while women and homosexual men experience more stress and anxiety about emotional betrayal. I mean, I get it. I also think that's messed up. I think women should be just as pissed about men doing physical infidelity as emotional. You know that man's bringing home? How much do you want to bet he's not using protection? That man could literally unalive you with some thing he's bringing home with his dirty, dirty little, right? We're allowed to care about what our partners look like and to be attracted to them. We're not supposed to, but I want a partner I'm attracted to. We're allowed to do that. And we're also allowed to care a lot if they have a physical affair and not just brush it off if it was just a few one-night stands. Fork that. It is still betrayal. Because look at this. Not only do we have solid evidence that an individual who cheats is 3 times as likely to cheat again, but also our suspicions of a previous partner's infidelity make us 4 times as likely to suspect a future partner of being unfaithful. So what that means is that, one, this man who cheated on her, 3 times as likely to do it again, at least. She's 4 times as likely to assume he is going to do it again, even if he doesn't. Do you know how you are never going to know peace in that mindset? And if she leaves him and dates someone again, great, cool. Now she's going to be paranoid. This kind of betrayal is so big, and we minimize it. Like, when men cheat, they just cheat. No, this should be taken so seriously. If a man has cheated and his sole purpose isn't trying to help his partner learn how to trust him again, feel safe with him again, give her room to process all this, give her room to be very suspicious of him. Like, men who will not do that, you don't deserve anything if you stay with them. Because I know sometimes if it's not even affairs, it's something else. These women are going to be on edge and be questioning you, and they have every right to. Are you lying? You know what I mean? And that's the price you pay. And so many men are like, God, are you just going to throw this in my face for the rest of your life? Yeah, maybe. Because I'm paranoid now because of what you did. You did this. And the men who understand that, or the people, regardless of gender, who understand that, maybe they have a chance. Because that is at least their primary purpose, is healing, helping her heal, rather than centering your shame. It's just not convenient. It's annoying that you don't trust me. So many men do this. And 35 to 44 are 3 times more likely to commit adultery than women in the same age group. that age group is dads. Just want to point that out because maybe men don't cheat when you're pregnant. Maybe they stick it out. Then they'll cheat when you're like, when the kid's 3, 4, 5, 10, 12. What difference does it make? I mean, I think it's worse when the woman's pregnant. But at the same time, at least she can make a decision to be like, you know what? I don't want you. I'm not raising this kid with you at all. Like, I don't think I don't want to compare scenarios because they're all terrible. As I've done videos before, when a man cheats, when a person cheats, I'm talking about men because men are doing this a lot to their wives and their family. When they cheat on her, they're cheating on the whole family. And as a daughter of a cheater, I can't tell you how long I had to heal from that, feeling abandoned by him because he betrayed me, not just my mom. No wonder I had a hard time trusting men. Et voilà.